South Korea's Hanwha is one of two foreign defense companies competing to build the new fleet. The Prime Minister is expected to tour its shipyard later this month while attending an economic summit of Asia-Pacific leaders.
And I think more importantly, we signed the first ever Canada-Korea Security and Defense Partnership Agreement.
Something unusual is happening behind closed doors in Ottawa, and it has nothing to do with routine defense contracts. South Korea arrived with a submarine bid worth more than $100 billion. Canada answered with a demand that stunned global manufacturers. This story moves far beyond military hardware. It pulls in electric vehicles, battery plants, hydrogen trucks, steel mills, and entire supply chains. What began as a procurement process quietly turned into an economic showdown that could reshape Canada's industrial future for decades. And the ripple effects are already spreading worldwide. Canada's defense procurement strategy has entered a new era, and it is no longer limited to weapon systems and military specifications. It has become an economic instrument, one powerful enough to reshape international manufacturing decisions. Seoul did not approach Ottawa cautiously. It moved fast. Global shipbuilding markets felt the shock almost immediately. Canada recently announced a competition for up to 12 submarines, a program valued at more than $100 billion spread across 50 years. Analysts expected a familiar process. Industry watchers assumed Ottawa would evaluate technical capabilities, compare price tags, and select a winner. Many believed Canada would pick the strongest platform and sign the paperwork. Every one of those assumptions collapsed. Standing inside the Ministry of Innovation headquarters this week, Canadian officials confirmed something that fundamentally changed the negotiating landscape. Industry Minister Melanie Joly and South Korean Trade Minister Kim Jung-kwan signed a memorandum of understanding on Korea-Canada industrial collaboration focused on future mobility. This agreement did not arrive after the submarine decision. It was not presented as a side benefit. It was established as a condition for serious consideration. The message could not have been clearer. Access to Canada's defense budget now comes with expectations. Industrial investment is no longer optional. Between late 2025 and January 2026, Canada-Korea relations accelerated in ways few anticipated. Ottawa announced its submarine plans. Seoul submitted its bid. Canada responded with 4 words that reshaped the entire process: bring your factories. This moment marked a shift in how defense procurement works. Military spending became leverage, industrial policy became currency. Canada transformed a naval purchase into a negotiation about manufacturing capacity, supply chains, and long-term economic alignment. The timeline tells the story. In December 2025, Canada narrowed the submarine competition to 2 finalists. South Korea's Hanwha Group offered the KSS 3 Batch 2. Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems proposed the Type 2-12CD, backed by a German-Norwegian partnership. Both were advanced diesel-electric submarines. Both met Canada's operational requirements. Both desperately wanted the contract. Then Ottawa introduced a question rarely asked in defense procurement. What are you prepared to build in Canada besides submarines? This single shift changed everything. Canada was no longer acting as a customer. It positioned itself as a partner with terms. South Korea understood immediately what was at stake. On January 21, 2026, Seoul dispatched a delegation to Ottawa that went far beyond standard trade talks. Presidential Chief of Staff Kang Hoon-sik attended. Defense Acquisition Minister Lee Yong-cheol came along. Trade Minister Kim Jung-kwan led negotiations. Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yoo-sun Chung traveled alongside them, even though he was not officially listed as part of the delegation. That level of representation sent a powerful signal. Seoul was treating this as a national priority, not a routine export opportunity. Days later, the Memorandum of Understanding was signed, and its scope was staggering. The agreement outlined plans to expand Korean automotive manufacturing in Canada, explore electric vehicle production, grow battery manufacturing capacity, develop the entire battery supply chain including critical mineral extraction and refining, advance hydrogen-powered commercial vehicles, build hydrogen production infrastructure, cooperate on artificial intelligence, strengthen steel and cement industries, collaborate on nuclear power, and deepen ties in liquefied natural gas. This was not a defense contract. It was a full-scale economic partnership presented through the lens of submarine procurement. From Canada's perspective, the strategy was precise. South Korea did not offer these commitments out of goodwill. Strategic necessity drove every move. One online observer captured Seoul's position with remarkable clarity. South Korea is actively seeking reliable partners in developed economies to offshore parts of its defense manufacturing in case of war with the North. The country views geographic concentration as one of its greatest vulnerabilities. It wants long-term partners beyond the United States and is willing to include technology transfers and tangible manufacturing investments, including automotive production, to secure those relationships. That assessment aligns with reality. South Korea lives under constant threat from North Korea. Any major conflict would place its industrial base at immediate risk. Hyundai, Kia, Samsung, LG, and countless suppliers operate within a narrow peninsula where critical facilities sit uncomfortably close to the demilitarized zone. Artillery range is not an abstract concept in Korea. It is a daily strategic calculation. Since the mid-1980s, South Korea has built one of the world's most respected manufacturing ecosystems. In 2025 alone, the country produced 4.1 million vehicles, ranking among the world's top automotive producers. It developed advanced shipbuilding capabilities, aerospace programs, and submarine technology. Yet all of this exists in a region defined by volatility. Canada offers something Seoul cannot create domestically: geographic security, political stability, rule of law, distance from regional conflict, access to critical minerals, a highly educated workforce, and a consistent record of honoring long-term agreements. When Ottawa demanded automotive investment, Seoul did not hesitate. The memorandum explicitly acknowledges the complementary nature of both economies and their significant potential for industrial cooperation. Diplomatic language often hides blunt realities. In this case, it translated to mutual dependence. Canada began securing tangible commitments almost immediately. Hyundai is considering a return to Canadian manufacturing after leaving Quebec in the late 1980s. This carries symbolic weight, but it also reflects a reassessment of Canada's economic fundamentals. Battery manufacturing represents another cornerstone. LG Energy Solution already partnered with Stellantis on the $5 billion Nexstar Energy battery plant in Ontario, which began production in October 2024. The facility currently employs more than 950 workers and is projected to reach 2,500 by late 2026. Government support for this project could reach as high as $15 billion. That is only the starting point. The new agreement discusses expanding Korea's battery footprint across Canada, building multiple facilities, establishing full supply chains, and integrating mineral extraction with refining and cell production. Canada provides the raw materials. Korea supplies processing expertise. Both reduce reliance on Chinese-controlled supply networks. Hydrogen cooperation adds another layer. While North America debates electric vehicle timelines, Canada and Korea are planning hydrogen-powered commercial vehicles alongside production and distribution infrastructure. This approach hedges against technological uncertainty by developing multiple clean energy pathways at once. Steel manufacturing also plays a role. Hanwha has already signed a $275 million agreement with Algoma Steel for a new mill. If Hanwha wins the submarine contract, it committed to sourcing steel domestically for the entire fleet. That guarantees Canadian participation across the supply chain, from raw materials to final assembly. The urgency behind these developments becomes clearer when examining Canada's automotive sector. Southern Ontario hosts 5 major automakers: Ford, General Motors, Stellantis, Honda, and Toyota. In recent years, Detroit-based manufacturers have reduced production and laid off thousands. Canada produced approximately 1.4 million vehicles in 2025, down from more than 2 million annually before 2017. U.S. tariffs have accelerated cuts. Employment across the auto sector continues to decline. Traditional partnerships are weakening. South Korea arrived with capital, technology, and an urgent need for offshore manufacturing resilience. Germany remains in the race, but Volkswagen's primary Canadian commitment so far centers on a single battery facility in St. Thomas through its PowerCo subsidiary. Hyundai's proposal goes far deeper, offering integration across automotive manufacturing, energy systems, and advanced materials. Ottawa's strategy extends far beyond this single competition. Canada is establishing a precedent. Defense procurement will include industrial development. Geography, stability, and natural resources are now bargaining tools. Access to military contracts requires meaningful economic participation. This approach reflects a broader understanding of modern geopolitics. Defense and economic policy no longer operate in isolation. Industrial capacity underpins national security. Supply chain resilience defines strategic strength. Mark Carney's government is communicating a consistent message. Canada offers distance from conflict zones, political stability, critical minerals, skilled labor, and access to North American markets. In return, partners must invest in Canadian manufacturing. This is strategic reciprocity. South Korea gains geographic diversification, reducing risk to its defense industrial base.